Samantha, and welcome to my channel. My name is Stefania if you're new here. So today I have an exciting review. We are going to be doing a review of the Samantha Ravendahl's brand Glow by Auric. I still feel like it does not roll off the tongue. I'm like Auric. Anyways, so main thing is I want you guys to know I paid for this with my own money, and then I did do a wear test between the Charlotte Tilbury and the Glow products. So I did half my face, did a 9-hour wear test with check-ins, and then for the glitter and the toppers, like I did do comparisons, and I definitely have some thoughts. I think we get so hyped up with new brands that sometimes I'm like, this was very expensive, and so I will definitely be giving my honest thoughts on if I really think it's worth it. I mean, I'm super excited for her, but I also love my wallet. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump into this video. Please don't forget to subscribe down below, hit that like button, and let's jump in. So let's get into the products. So the packaging was very, very minimal, which I was happy about. Not a lot of padding, like I don't know what this one piece of paper is going to do. So hopefully they're fine, but at least it didn't come in like a giant box for 2 products, you know? So we will be obviously comparing it to the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. I'm not somebody who, I just never fell in love with the Hollywood filter. I mean, I definitely like just didn't reach for it over anything else. Like it wasn't something that I ever felt like, oh, I have to add that in. And maybe that's just depending on like what type of foundation and your skin type. But yeah, I wish I could say I did, because I know it's like everyone's, like, people love the Charlotte Tilbury. And I was like, even though I like glowy skin, I just did not really ever gravitate towards it. Like it was just something I forgot about constantly, whether I had it on my desk or whatever. It just was like an extra step that I was just kind of like, so I'm hoping I love this. So I got the shade Pyrite. I will say packaging wise, like this does feel very luxurious. Like, don't worry, we're going to talk about the price point, because yeah, I don't know what she thinks, that we're all rich here or something. But packaging wise, I definitely feel like they're comparable. Like I feel like they both look high end. It's not like this looks, you know, like the knockoff of this by any means. So very nice and like heavily weighted. Like you can tell it's a nice product. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to do the same thing I would with this. This can be used in so many different ways. Either one can, whether you want to mix it in with your foundation or use it with your skincare, which I will be doing that tomorrow. So you guys will see it in 2 different ways, where tomorrow I'm not going to do foundation because I don't really do a lot of foundation these days. So we are going to put it on before I do my foundation, which I need to go grab my foundation. But just be aware, like I think if you were using more matte ones, maybe that's when you would gravitate more towards a product like this. Whereas like I generally use my Pat McGrath, which is already a fairly dewy foundation. So maybe that's why. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly do my Charlotte Tilbury. This is in the shade 5. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Like, what do you use? Do you use it? Have you tried it? So it has the doe foot. I'm gonna go in with a beauty blender, but yeah, I just never fell in love with this. It's so funny we're talking about dewy skin, my husband and I, because like we are out of TV options, so we've been watching The Bachelor, and they all look so like, I'm sure it's humid Pennsylvania, but they look oily. And he's like, what is this? Why do girls look like that? And I was like, it's this whole dewy skin thing. It can be like a step below greasy. And he's like, oh, I don't like it. And I was like, well, it is what it is, you know? They can't control the weather. I don't know if it's actually humid there. But he's like, what is wrong with them? And I'm like, I don't know. I was like, he's like, but he doesn't look like that. And I was like, yeah, that's because they blot him. He's like the most important one to look nice. But I just thought it was funny that he's like, why would they do that? So I'm gonna avoid this area. I don't like glowy products in this area. So I'm just kind of going over everywhere else, but like the middle of my chin, my nose, and then this is like where I would want to avoid putting anything there. I just don't really feel like it looks good in those areas. So that's what I would usually do with the Charlotte Tilbury. I'm gonna go ahead and use a different beauty sponge for the pyrite, and I will compare shades as well. So I think I'm gonna go, I'll do all my swatches then go outside so you guys can see them in the natural sunlight. The cap isn't that hard to remove. Like, it's on there sturdily, you know, it's a heavy cap, but I feel like a lot of people were like that was a big point. But you guys saw that, I got that off no problem. How's your start to the year been? Mine's been crap. Like between getting COVID, I'm still I feel so much better, but like exhausted. So this is definitely thicker, which she did say, just on the sponge. I can already tell, like, this looks like when you pump it, it's definitely thicker than the Charlotte Tilbury. So this is the pyrite shade. I didn't know, like, if I was wanting to just do a highlight, I would have gone with the lighter shades, but I just didn't feel like it was worth the price point of like purchasing a $45 like highlight shade, you know what I mean? If they were a little cheaper, I probably would have gotten a few different ones, but with that price point, I was like, no, you're gonna get one product of each and see how you like it first. So I'm gonna go in with about that much more and then call it good. But yeah, it's definitely thicker than the Charlotte Tilbury. But yeah, do you guys mix stuff in with this with your foundation or what? But yeah, other than COVID, it was just a year where, like, yesterday I got a flat tire. And I was just like, I don't know how to change a flat tire, which I'm so embarrassed to admit. But, like, my dad was never that person. Like, he's not good at teaching things. He's always like, somebody will help you. Like, he's like, just pull over. Someone will help eventually. And I'm like, great. So I felt a little bit bad. I made one of my clients help me change, but I'm going to give him a free session because I was like, I really need help. Don't know what to do. And then one of my other, at first I was like, I can Google it. I'm a woman. I can do this. And my client was like, oh, my cousin did that once and it fell on him and paralyzed him. And I was like, I'm not doing this by myself. So I'm going to completely turn down the lighting. This is obviously the Charlotte Tilbury side, and then this is the Glow by Auric. It's such a weird, I think of orc. I'm like, are orcs in Lord of the Rings? Yes. That's how I feel like pronouncing it. I do like this though. Like, I would do a little bit less, but I still feel like I could get away with this as just like a nice highlight with my natural skin. It's probably not going to be the brightest when I have foundation on, but it does give me a nice glow. Would I say it's like different than this side? Obviously the shades are a little bit different. My Charlotte Tilbury is a little bit warmer, but I would say that's the biggest difference right now. Like, this one definitely gives me a little bit more color than this side, which I'm not mad at because, like I said, I feel like I can just kind of layer this over my skincare, which is what I just did, and just do a little bit less, because I do feel like products like these give me a little bit more texture up close. You can see that on both sides. Like, I felt like my skin looked healthier before I started, where, like, if I was going to do this with skincare alone, I would literally just use it as a highlight and not bring it down, because that's the area where my face is a little bit less smooth, you know? But yeah, what do you guys think? I don't notice a huge difference, but other than, like, the coloring, I wouldn't say this side of my face is worse, but I do feel like it looks a little bit like my texture is a little bit worse on this side in terms of like what it's bringing out. So we shall see. Like I said, I'm going to use my Pat McGrath foundation. This is my go-to, my favorite. It's very pricey as well, but it's the one foundation where I've reached for a million times. So I feel like it's worth it, and I'm not gonna lie, I just squirted it everywhere. But yeah, I always reach for this. I'm not really into like the whole full coverage thing anymore. This is kind of what I reach for now when I do my makeup. So I feel like the price is worth it, and I always get it on a good sale. Like this year she had 30% off on Black Friday, I think. So I got some shades then, and I felt like it brought the price down a lot. But yeah, definitely my favorite foundation. So, like I said, I don't do a lot of foundation now. I kind of just do a very light layer. I've been really into doing makeup with my hands. Which I know used to like gross me out because I'd be like, oh, but I'm like, why? I put my lotion on and everything else with my hands. So that's really my preferred way now to do foundation, especially a foundation like this where it's not a full coverage. But yeah, I feel like that's all I would do. I only do like one pump. I don't really kick it on. And just for those like who don't know, I work at a gym, so it's not like I can, like, it just looks weird if I wear a full face of makeup. Like even today, I'm just like, I'm going to do this wear test. I'm going to go to work. It's going to be fine. But I generally work out when I'm there. And today I'm like, I guess I will do a very light workout. I'm going to grow some triceps today. So when it comes to this, we're going to kind of let this, I'm going to put on some concealer and we're going to kind of just let it sit. So I don't want to set my face just because I wouldn't naturally set my face. I want to see if there's fallout before I put on concealer because I feel like that's the worst. I am going to grab a shade to put in my crease because I didn't prime my lids. But yeah, I'm not really someone who goes in with just like a all-in-one shade generally. Like I said, tomorrow I will do a test where it's just the cream and show you guys natural lighting to see if there's any patchiness. So today we're going to use this palette. This is my Supreme Nudes from Artist Couture. And I'm going to go in with the shade Nudist and maybe a little bit of Transcend, but that's it. Okay, so if you know me, I think you guys already know what shade I got because I have a problem with like rosy pink shades. So I will be doing comparisons and all that as well at the end, but this is in the shade Temper. I don't have any of the Tom Ford ones. I've never been I maybe own 2 lipsticks from Tom Ford. Other than that, it's like one of those price ranges where it's like I have my high end, like Pat McGrath, and then it's kind of like middle of the road high end. I don't really do like the ranges in between because I just can't afford it. So yeah, I'm just like, I don't want to try much because then what if I fall in love? I cannot do it. So obviously of the compact, like I said, it does feel very nice and luxe. I mean, the top part is a little bit plasticky. I would just be very careful because I think for me at least, like I would generally like take this off and kind of throw the cap. The cap has the eyeshadow in it and I don't want to break it. So we're gonna start with the finger, and if I want to, I'll go in with the brush. I'm just gonna grab a very tiny bit at a time. I have a problem with cream eyeshadows generally don't look that great on me. They're not my usual personal preference. The topper, absolutely. But I generally find that I have like problems with creasing. So this is very hard with lashes on because I feel like I'm going to just get it all up in them, but it's fine. All right, a little bit more. I'm okay with it going into the crease a little bit. Kind of given up the days where I thought that like I shouldn't do that. It's just where we're at in life right now. Nothing needs to be perfect. I don't feel like I really want to go in with a brush. I just don't feel the need to. That's a really pretty shade. So right now, I'm not experiencing any patchiness. Maybe with a brush, you might get a little bit more. But right now, it looks fine. I'm not seeing anything like patching up. And like I said, I'll go into natural sunlight as well. But it's a lot more neutral than I thought. Like for it being with the pink like glitter shade, I thought this was going to be a little bit more purpley, but it's really not. It's very almost neutral, which I'm not mad about. Like I think this looks really nice. And obviously like I need to put on concealer because this type of color will bring out your underbags. Okay, so I do really like this on its own. I feel like this is very quick, like grab and go. We'll see how it wears. I mean, that's my biggest thing is I feel like it gets patchy throughout the day on me. And I have fairly dry skin. Not dry skin, but like dry eyelids. My skin is very, like, I would say my skin is normal if you're wondering. I have normal skin. So, normal skin. What if I'm not oily and I'm not too dry? I'm just definitely It's not amazing, but it's gotten much better. So let's go in with the top. It does come with a tiny little mirror. I will say my mirror didn't come with a protector over it, and it is very, very scratched. I don't know if you guys can like tell. It doesn't bother me because, to be honest, like, it's such a tiny mirror, I wouldn't really use it. But I thought I would just note it because for the price point, I feel like you want everything to be perfect. So the glitter topper, I did read Temptalia's reviews because I feel like she does a really good job on them. She was mentioning like the plastic and the glitter. So just know like glitters obviously aren't eye safe. When touching this, it feels very dry. It is coming off though, so that's fine, but just texture wise, it does feel a little bit on the drier side. Obviously I can't speak for all the Sage shades because I wasn't making money for this month, you know, I wasn't in the studio, so we're just going to press it on top. I feel like I'll probably go in a few times. And it does, like, my lids still feel a little bit tacky, so it didn't dry down super fast by any means, but I feel like I need to go in a few more times to get that like really saturated, because it's, you guys can kind of tell it's a little bit harder pressed than I thought it was going to be, which some people prefer because it's not going to cause as much fallout. So that's on the nice side. But like even my Pat McGrath ones like feel smoother as a glitter topper. That is really pretty though. But it's not giving me like an amazing punch of glitter. So very adult glitter-ish, if you will. So just be aware that you might have to kind of build it on there if you are like me who likes that. Like I want the good amount of glitter. It makes me very happy. So I'm going to do the other side, but just so you guys can tell the difference, I'll turn the lights all the way down again between the cream and then the cream layered with. Okay, so I went ahead and put on my concealer and did my under eye. I just did the same exact thing, but I'll make sure to list everything down below. For bronzer, I'm going to go in with this Vesca Beauty in Kissed by Diana. So I thought about using a cream one, and then I was like, you know, I wanted to get a little bit more use out of this. I just reorganized my whole room and then went under like, problem is, I don't know about you guys, but like I transport makeup to like every area of the house. So I have like, I need to clean underneath my sink, which I had makeup in there from like 5 to 10 years ago. So, yeah, it was bad. But yeah, I finally organized everything. So, and I was like, I forgot about this bronzer. It's a little powdery, like it has a lot of kick up in the pan, but I do really love it. I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm just going to do a light wash because, like I said, I don't want like a ton of makeup on today. And just go underneath, just the jawline. But yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that's going on. But nothing really. We're still, you'll notice, I will probably have foundation off of my nose very, very quickly. We're feeling a lot better, but we're both like, our nose is still like super runny. I was not an asymptomatic person, and I can't seem to like get up. Like I want to sleep all the time, like all the time. It's very bad. So I'm gonna just put a little bit, pop a little bit of highlight into my inner corner. I'm just gonna use my Jaclyn Hill palette because I don't feel like that shade is gonna pack on like this pink. I don't think it can really pack that way because it's just really hard in the pan. Like I said, I'm gonna do some swatches of my other single shadows. I get why she did it because I feel like she loves using, I guess that's working a little bit. Layered over though, like the lighter highlight. Because she does like single pots and I do too, but this is definitely a little bit different than I was expecting off the bat from her. So lastly, let's go in with blush. So I'm going to use my Patrick Ta Shiso LA, and I'm just going to, because I don't want anything extreme, like I said. Boop. So I'm not going to use the cream side. I'm just going to use because it's got the cream and the powder. I'm just going to use the powder side. So I'm pretty much done with my face. Like I said, I don't really do anything with powder unless it's just my like direct under eye, which I will actually do because I feel a little oily, if you will. So I'm going to use my Pat McGrath powder, but I'm not going to set any other areas other than like right there, just because I don't like having a greasy chin. It makes me feel like I'm eating greasy food. I don't know. It's the only place where I'm just like, oh no. But let's see here. So we're going to try just a little bit. We're going to go back in with each shade. So I'm going to start with Pyrite and just take the tiniest little dab and see if we can kind of intensify a highlight. Because like I said, I think usually you would go in with a lighter shade, but I just didn't want to pay another $45 for for just a highlight. Most of this is like, yeah, you guys know, like I have spent $45 on a highlight, but it's a little bit different when it's a new brand and I just don't know yet if it's worth the price point. Like there's, you know what I mean? It's not like an established brand or something where I could bring it back to Sephora if it doesn't work for me type thing. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. The color I got in Charlotte Tilbury is a little bit too dark, I think, to work that way. But we'll use it. All right, and then for lips, I'm just gonna throw a gloss on because I am home for the next few hours and I have some work to do, which means I'm gonna be drinking coffee anyway, so I don't want to put an actual lipstick on. But this is the Wayne Goss in Hyacinth. My lips have been really dry. During that whole try on thing, I tested out a lot of old makeup that I probably shouldn't have and put them like liquid lipsticks on my lips. I feel like it's ruined my lips for a full 5 days. Like I feel numb. So I'm gonna go outside and kind of assess what everything looks like. I'll kind of leave it on for an hour before doing that. Like I said, I definitely like the shade of this better. Like just as a highlight, it works better. My Charlotte Tilbury, when it's blended in, I think it's a little bit better, but this definitely fits better with my skin tone where it just gives me a glossy look. So I'm happy that I can kind of use it as both. Obviously, usually you'd go with something a little bit lighter, a little bit more of a golden tint, but I still think it looks nice. Let's see. We'll see if it dries down because both sides right now are a little bit sticky. I'm someone who can't stand that if it lasts because I feel like my hair just gets caught in it and I just don't. Like my Kevin Aquan highlighter, I was just like, this never dries down. It drives me insane. Eye look, I really, really like it. Surprisingly, I liked the cream more. Not that I don't like the glitter eyeshadow. I think it looks really nice, and you guys know I love my glitter. But it dispersed really well, but it's not as glittery as I expected it to be, just off of like comparing it to like my favorite toppers, if you will. So like I said, I will do some comparisons outside in the sun and swatch everything for you and swatch the foundation shades. But I feel like the eye look is probably, the cream was actually probably my favorite part of the whole application process. Why I turned into Sean Connery. But yeah, what do you guys think? And let me turn the lighting down all the way. Like, I'm liking the way my skin looks though. I don't mind it. I am preferring the Auric side more. And I think that might be just because of the shade, but I think the thickness kind of helps because I feel like this side, even though I use the same amount of foundation, is a little bit more red, like less coverage, whereas this gave me a little bit of coverage with it, which I appreciate. So like I said, we'll check it in like an hour in the sunlight and see what we look like, but I still feel very put together. I still feel really pretty in this look. Okay, so we're outside. I'm gonna try not to get dog poo-poo in this shot. But that top one is the Glow by Auric, the shade Temper topper, and then right next to it is Pat McGrath, and then I have the Diamond Lights from Artist Couture, and then the last two are Hourglass Scattered Light. So out of them, like, you guys can just tell, I just think the reflect is a little bit more prominent in the other toppers. If you were trying to just buy it for the top shade, to me what's saving it is the cream, because I really feel like the powder is just harder pressed, and so I don't feel like you get that like really pretty glimmery effect. Like, not horrible, it just depends on your preference. But I am someone who, like, if I'm gonna go with shine, I'm gonna go full on shine, and I just felt like I had to do like 4 swatches to get it that way. Like, it just felt very dry for me, and I just worried about that, like, longevity wise, if that's going to dry out. Whereas like my other ones, like my scattered lights, I've had for like probably over a year and a half compared to the other shades. So there you go. There is your shade comparison of the Pyrite on the right, and then the left is the Charlotte Tilbury. So you can tell like Pyrite is much more on the beige side, like very neutral compared to my Charlotte Tilbury, which is definitely more orangey. So that's a big difference, but even just swatching them out, the Glow by Auric side is very much more like, it has a lot more coverage and is definitely a little bit thicker when spreading it out. Alright, so this is what we're looking at in natural sunlight. So again, this is the Glow by Auric side, this is the CT side. What do you guys think? I feel like everything is holding up like super well. How many complaints? Again, my nose does not count. I've been blowing it non-stop. So right now though, everything looks good. The eyeshadow, there's nothing happening with anything. So I'm very happy with the first check-in. Again, I do still feel like this side looks a little bit better just because the tone of it. I was a much tanner when I got the CT. But I do like that it has a little bit more coverage than this side. But what do you guys think? All right, I'm in my car. It's 3:12 and I did my makeup at 11. So we're at the 4-hour point. And I'm definitely like, I'm about to go into work and I'm like, I feel good right now. My skin definitely looks kind of what we were talking about in The Bachelor. So I like this look right now, but this is about as like dewy as I like to go. So I'm hoping I don't get more shiny. But right now I still feel really pretty in this. And I feel like everything is holding up fairly well. I feel like my face, like, that is the Charlotte Tilbury side. That is the Auric side. So, you know, I even have that like giant zit right there, so you guys can see like I really feel like it's not bringing out any extra texture in terms of my eyes. I'm not seeing any patchiness, and you know, one thing I am appreciating is like I don't feel like I have a ton of glitter flecks all over my face. So like you guys can kind of see it, like maybe one or two, but it's not like, you know, like when I wear certain palettes, like maybe like my Tati palette, like throughout the day, like it just really, you know, I feel like a sparkly vampire. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. I'm excited to see what else happens, but so far nothing is like coming apart by any means. I still feel really good about the way that this is all looking. So I've got about a 4 or 5 hour shift, and then I will check in at the end of the night. All right. It is 8:30, so final check-in of the night. I feel like I don't look greasier than I did, which I'm really happy about. Like, I still feel like I have a nice glow, and like I said, I did work out and stuff, so it's not like I look like, you know. But I feel like this is still definitely doable. I don't feel like it went to a place of just like looking like a greased chicken, you know. So, and I think part of that is like I said, I didn't put it through here or on my chin because I think that would definitely not be good. Like the glowiness is kind of, you know, forehead cheekish area. So I'm going to completely turn off the light because obviously like there's no daylight left. But that way you guys can like truly see. And I feel like both the sides held up well. I don't really feel like, you know, one side looks better than the other. The dog is like banging on the, you know, sort of like just jiggle the handle when he's annoyed with me because he hasn't eaten yet. But yeah, what do you guys think? I'm pretty happy right now. I don't feel like I have any patchiness in my eyeshadow right now. I feel like I'm a little bit more impressed with the actual like glow product more than I thought I would be. And like, you know, we'll get into this in all my thoughts, but I just wanted to show you guys real quick. Like this is after like over 9.5 hours. So pretty long day. I would, like I said, I think if you didn't like this much of a wet look, I don't want to call it like, you know, dewy, because I feel like this is a little step up from dewy, you know, this is right on that edge. Maybe mixing it in with more of a matte foundation, just because like the Pat McGrath is pretty luminous in general, so I just didn't want to use something where I wasn't like super familiar with, and I wanted to go with, you know, use something that I use every day, like my go-to. So that could also be just something to keep in mind. And I haven't like put any powder or anything over it, so it's not like I blotted it out throughout the day or any time. But yeah, this is what we are looking like. So okay, I want to just get up in here, show you guys. Okay, so overall thoughts. I am going to pop up what it looks like when just wearing it with skincare, which is actually what I have on right now. So I have my normal sunscreen on, and I've had it on for like 6 hours. So I actually didn't have any patchiness. I just wore the cream today just to see if the cream would be patchy throughout the day, and no issues. So overall thoughts. In terms of what I loved, I actually ended up loving the Glow Lust more than the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless filter. And like I said, part of that is like this shade is definitely a lot deeper than this one. Pyrite is very nice and neutral, and I completely feel like she did a good job shade-wise. Like it could work for a wide range, but this was perfect for me. Like I said, I have no foundation on or concealer, and I really like the way that this looks. And this is more, you know, like I wore this to work today and it was fine. No issues with it. I like it under the foundation. Is it something I would do all the time? I think you kind of need to like think about what you use, you know, more or less. Like I think the Charlotte Tilbury, I wouldn't have used this without makeup on, whereas this, I really like it without makeup and with makeup. I like that it gives me more coverage than the Charlotte Tilbury. But, you know, at the same time, like if you have this, do I think you need this right now? No. Like if I wasn't reviewing it, I would have just waited until I was like done with this. But yeah, I do think it's a luxury packaging. The Charlotte Tilbury is $44. This is $45. The shipping was not my favorite. I know anyone that didn't live in the US, I feel bad for like complaining about it. But I did feel like the shipping expenses, like even for me, I spent, you know, I got this and then there was like no free shipping over like $60 or, you know what I mean? So I'm a stickler when it comes to that. I will spend $15 rather than pay $5 for shipping type thing. So the shipping cost I felt like were a little high, and I think you definitely, like, I take that into account when buying a product. So for me, I think this was definitely the most worth it. I do want to play around with it with other foundations, but like I said, I like the shade. I like that I could do multiple things with it. I don't think I would buy one just for the highlight sake, like if I couldn't mix it in and stuff, like if they were maybe going on sale. Another thing I think she did really well was like nothing is limited edition. So, you know, wait it out and see if people are still using the product months from now and see if they really like it, because like I said, we all get excited for new brands. That doesn't mean they're gonna like stand the test of time. I would say longevity wise, like this will probably be a product you guys will see me using. The eyeshadow for me was the thing I thought I was gonna love more, and it's not. The cream, I like it. I didn't have any issues. I didn't have any patchiness. Like today I blended it out with a brush, no problems. And I can only speak for the shade I have, obviously. But what was disappointing to me is like, I just didn't feel like it was worth the price point. Like if this was more in the $25 to $30, I'd be like, yeah, sure, try it out when you have a chance. But for it being $39, I just feel like this shade like is dry, and like I'll show you guys. So I'm gonna go like this and I'll show you guys just a dry swatch. Like that's what I get on my hand. And like I said, like there's just not much there. Like I have to really dig in. So I don't know if I got a dud or what, but I was not like I just feel like I have to like keep layering it on. So I might email them because I'm like, is that normal? But I literally like have to dig in there, and that was the thing I was most excited about. And like I showed you guys swatches of my other ones, and I just don't feel like this is a standout product among my other pots. So I do like the cream, but the topper was definitely like I was expecting more. So I am going to email them and just see if that's normal, or check out some reviews to see if like swatches, because I have to like really build this on here to get a really nice shimmer. If you like, you know, just a little tiny bit, this may be the product for you. But for me, for the $39 price point, I was expecting quite a bit, like, uniqueness, a little bit more. So I would say, you know, between everything, I think this is definitely worth the money. I would maybe wait on the shadows, and like I said, none of these are limited edition, so maybe eventually she'll have a sale, something like that. But yeah, I'm happy, and I'm also like a little bit like, oh, happy, huh. So I really like Sam, and that's not to like say anything, but like for the price point, I feel like I just have to give you guys my honest thoughts rather than just say it's amazing, you know what I mean? Because this definitely hurt my wallet. Like $39 is generally an eyeshadow palette as opposed to like a cream and a topper, you know? But yeah, the topper was definitely the most disappointing. The cream I liked more than I thought I would. But overall, you do get a little bit more product than this and than the Charlotte Tilbury, and I did like it better. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. What are your thoughts? Did you guys pick up anything? Is it just my temper shade and maybe I just got a dud? I don't know. Price point wise, I just feel like the price is just a little high for the brand, and to be honest, I wouldn't pick up the cream shadows. This is kind of more understandable for the price point. I think it feels very luxe, and I think, you know what I mean? It does feel like a luxury brand, but just starting off with those price points, you're kind of like, what am I going to be able to afford in the future, you know? So I'm excited to see what she comes out with. I would buy, you know, I will continue to support the brand. I'll just be a little bit pickier about which things I buy. So let me know your guys' thoughts. I hope you found this very useful. Please comment down below if you guys got anything, if you've tested it out, what are your thoughts? And again, just know I love Sam. I just wasn't a huge fan of the topper. Like, I was just like, oh, it's nice, but it's not like $39 of nice. So yeah, that is it for me. I'll see you guys in the next video.